just had a little bit of tidbits of him in the past couple of years, and I couldn't even finish listening to his whole shtick. And every time I would listen to him, there was something about him that would rub me the wrong way, and maybe he would remind me of men that I didn't like, men who I didn't like growing up. And I also am sensitive to energy, so I kind of felt like he was putting on this persona, so just seemed a little fake, and yet I turned it off. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Soulful Intuitive. I wanted to thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing, and hope you've been having a wonderful sunny days if you live in the northern hemisphere. Today's topic is a little different than our usual topics, which we usually talk about self-development. But one of the things I do is, I know a lot of people don't have time to listen to podcasts. People are busy, but I do listen to a lot because I have to drive to work and I have a lot of time on my hand when I'm driving. So instead of listening to the music, I usually listen to podcasts. And one of the things that I hear from most of my friends and my clients, one of the complaints is most podcasts takes an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours, and they don't have time to or focus or that concentration to listen to something for that long, and therefore they just skip it. So our attention spans are very short, and you have to be very, very dedicated to a topic in order to just sit by something for that long and listen to it. And also, even more importantly, if you don't agree with the person who's talking, or if you don't agree with the topic, then usually people just turn it off, whether it's on TV or their Spotify or on YouTube. They don't really give it that much time. And I do the exact opposite. I watch a lot of material and I listen to a lot of podcasts that aren't necessarily aligned with how I think, because I don't want to live in a world where I'm surrounded by people who think like me, act like me, talk like me, because then there will be no growth. And I just don't really want this whole echo chamber situation where we think that our immediate world around us is exactly like the entire world, because we tend to surround ourselves with people who think like us because we vibe with them. But I am really interested in figuring out what's happening in the whole world and on a bigger scale. And I like to listen to these podcasts of all kinds because I do have the luxury of time, and then I can maybe summarize it in 15 to 20 minutes. And if people are interested, then they can go find that podcast and listen to the whole time, like the 2 hours or 3 hours of it. I hear the same thing about Joe Rogan, that, oh, he's just too long because people sit with him and talk for 3 hours. It's a very valid excuse for not listening to him. But and with Joe Rogan, it is very long, and sometimes I listen and sometimes I don't, really depending on who's on it and how much time I have. But I wanted to specifically talk about this figure, Andrew Tate, because as a gay man living in North America, I just had a little bit of tidbits of him in the past couple of years, and I couldn't even finish listening to his whole shtick. And every time I would listen to him, there was something about him that would rub me the wrong way, and maybe he would remind me of men that I didn't like, men who I didn't like growing up. And I also am sensitive to energy, so I kind of felt like he was putting on this persona, so just seemed a little fake, and yet I turned it off. So one of the YouTube channels that I have been watching or listening to the past couple of years called Valuetainment, and the founder Patrick brings very interesting people from Mr. Kennedy to rappers to he brings all kinds of people, and he has a few hosts that are in the room. I think Patrick's Christian, someone's Jewish. I don't know about the rest of them, but it's not like The View where everybody is progressive, and then they bring like one Republican who's like a liberal Republican, and they call it a sample from the entire America, which is not true. And it's definitely an echo chamber. But they bring all kinds of people, and they talk to all kinds of characters. And also on YouTube, they cut it up in 20 or 30-minute segments, so you don't have to listen to the whole thing. If you're really interested in that person that they're interviewing or the concept or the topic, then yes, you'll go and find the entire 2 or 3 hour talk that they had and you listen to it. But for those of you who don't know who Andrew Tate is, I think he was born in the States, and he grew up in UK and Romania, if I can remember correctly. But he then moved to Dubai, and he started this whole like trying to teach men how to be men, and he made a lot of money doing that. And he just is exactly what men maybe want to be or aspire to be. He's very tall. He's very cocky. He shows off his Lamborghinis and luxury cars and his beautiful homes and his lifestyle. He's very big on social media. He is exactly what let's say a social media royalty looks like these days, in your face, narcissistic, at least on surface, and says the wrong thing, maybe on purpose a lot of times to get controversy and attention. And people like that because that takes a lot of balls or courage or bravery, and most people who don't have those qualities or lack enough of it, they look up to a person like him, kind of just like how when Trump was on TV, doing his TV show, people just liked it because they wanted to be him. They wanted to be the CEO in the room, the big boss who would hire and fire people. And for the same reason why some people have man crushes on athletes, because they want to be that person. They want to be that good playing that sport. They want to be that good looking, or they want to have that physique, or they want to have that level of fame or level of health, level of the skills that they have. So it's the same thing when it comes to people on social media or people on TV. People just sit at home and then they see a little bit of themselves or how they would want to be in the perfect world. In that person, they make connections, and then they just become a fan or a super fan. It doesn't matter. However, I came across his brand new interview on Valuetainment, and because he's still on house arrest, he was I think jailed for alleged child trafficking or something with abusing underage women, and he's still under house arrest, but he's not convicted. And so the hosts of Valuetainment went to his house and talked to him for a couple hours, and he so I listened to it, even though I just already have these preconceived notions of who he is. But when I have those sort of like thoughts about someone, I'm more interested in actually getting to know who they are, because I like to prove myself wrong. And I'm the first one to say that I don't know everything, and I refuse to just act like all my beliefs are correct and therefore everyone else is wrong. So the ones that I agree with, I agree with. I'm not going to learn anything new from them. But the ones that I don't agree with are going to be people who are going to be challenging and maybe provide another angle that I never thought about. And I think we should all do that. And the reason why I want to talk about Andrew Tate is because we live in a world of social media, which is full of Andrew Tates. And we either come to love him or hate him. And either way, doesn't matter. The ones that we already love, we already know everything about them. I encourage everybody to get to know the ones that they hate, and to go there and find out why they hate them. And for me as a gay man, when I hear someone even slightly talking about things about LGBTQ family, I'm not gonna lie to you, I get a little bruised, and I just want to dislike them immediately. And but that's childish because that's not very adult, and people are multifaceted. People are very complex. People can say all kinds of things, but we have to give everybody an opportunity to show you who they are and where they come from. And this is how the dialogues are formed. This is how progress is achieved. Progress is never achieved by turning channels off, turning radio stations off, YouTube channels off because we don't agree with them. Because if you don't know what others who seemingly don't like you or don't understand you think about you, then how are you going to ever come to any kind of conclusion or any kind of resolution? You just won't. And by pointing fingers, nothing really is achieved. And I think we know by now that that way of being is not at all helping any of us, because the more divided we are, the easier we are to be conquered. And at this point, us, the little people, let's say almost 8 billion of us, we need to unite, and we need to smarten up and realize that we're all the same. We all have part of, we all have God particles inside of us. We're all part of this universe. We're all made of love, and we need to really, really, really come to this understanding so we can sit in front of each other and have a conversation. And so, having said that, that's why I listened to half of this interview, which I'm not done with the whole thing, but they addressed so many things. And this guy's really interesting because he went from being an atheist to being a Christian to now he's a Muslim. And he says a lot of things. And in the beginning, I'm like, oh, okay, so he's a homophobe, and apparently he's not. He says he has gay friends, and he has issues with the way things are in terms of just the way that the powers, people in the position of power are using these hats, these titles, these groups, and they put, like, let's just say so many people in this group and so many people in that group, and then when you find yourself belonging to this group, even though maybe you don't agree with certain things that is being done in that group, you're overall protective of that group because you belong to that group. So because you want to protect yourself and you want to preserve yourself, so therefore you just close your eyes on maybe so many other things. But overall, just listening to him and the other hosts talking about how important it is to be humble and share your experience. So this guy's talking about his experience in jail and how when you're in jail, you can't escape your thoughts because you're in this like 3x4 room. You have nowhere to go, and you can't get on your phone. You can't play with your gadgets. You can't talk to your friends. You can't get drunk. Like, you just can't do anything. So you don't have your usual ways to dissociate, so you're left with your thoughts. So he was talking about that, and it's so important because how many of us are ever in the position of being in jail for a month or a day or a week, but it doesn't matter how long, but you're going to be stuck with your own thoughts. And how important it is to think about your thoughts and to be left alone with your thoughts, and to not run away from them, but actually welcome them even though they're uncomfortable. He was talking about these other issues. He was talking about, like, what it takes to be a man. Like, if you're a real man, you should protect your family, you should protect yourself, you should do something, you should get off your ass, you should stop playing video games, you should man up, you should own up your your issues. You should work on yourself. You should be productive. You should be a good husband, a good neighbor, a good brother, a good son. Like all these things that he was saying, I agree with. I do think that you should be a good man and you should be a good woman. And so I'm not going to cancel someone because I don't agree with the way he looks or the way he talks, because to me, I still think that the way he comes across is very narcissistic, which, you know, I don't know this person. I don't know if this person has done any mental health treatments, if he's done any therapies. But if you need to say that you have so much and you don't have to work and all of these things, which can be a statement, I don't know. It could be just him saying that he doesn't need to work and yet he does work. So he has a purpose when he wakes up in the morning. Maybe that's why he works. But anyone that says, you know, like for me, when I was listening to him, he's like, you know, people hate me because I'm good looking, tall, and smart, and this and that, and rich. And I mean, I don't disagree with this, because I do think that people have jealousy ingrained in them, and they just overall, not, I don't want to overgeneralize, but sometimes, you know, when the one that has it all in our eyes, maybe we're a little envious. So maybe in that way, he's not phrasing it properly, but maybe there's a point in there. I don't know. But I would never even go there or talk about it, because I don't know. I never thought that those are important, being tall or good looking or rich, because, you know, who cares? But again, we're all different. So we all have different qualities. We all have different morals, different standards. But I think it's really important to just listen to each other, even though we have different standards, even though we have different points of views. Because I started listening to him and the other hosts, and me being gay and being super sensitive towards any comments that are a little homophobic, I have to cringe and then continue listening. And yet they were, you know, saying that, you know, for example, wherever he lives in Dubai, there's so many gay people, and him being a Muslim, he doesn't think that being gay is bad, and there are gay people everywhere, and he respects that, and he, you know, but from his standpoint, the reason why, let's say, as a Muslim man, he thinks that religion sort of like didn't want to highlight being gay is because they, you know, just it's so important that the society as a whole has value for family, where there's a man and a woman and a bunch of kids, and that's his point of view. I respect that he's talking about it, and I think that what we're really lacking is the lack of that conversation. And you know, I really think that when people are open to talking, you can do so much progress with just being honest. And I got to know myself. Most of my friends were straight, and my best friend's still straight, female, and we're exactly the same. You know, I don't think our gender makes a difference. Maybe, I don't know, being gay, or being part of the LGBTQ family is a little bit more, depending on where you are, challenging. But we all want the same thing. We all want to be accepted. We all want to love and be loved, and we all have the certain needs in order to be sheltered, to eat, to be respected, to respect others, to, you know, leave a legacy behind. Because we're all humans, and and that's the most important thing when you're listening to even someone that maybe initially for the first 5 minutes, when you listen to him, you just disregard as a lost cause, or, you know, toxic masculinity, whatever, just all those things. But it's so important to listen to these people, because I think underneath it all, when conversations are made, and when connections are made, when people have heart to heart, then just the sky's the limit, because there's no way you can touch someone else's with your heartfelt experience and words and not have them be moved. And we're not perfect. Doesn't matter what gender you're in, doesn't matter what kind of socioeconomic level you're at. We're all the same. We all need the same things. It doesn't matter if your home has one room or like 100 rooms. At the end of the day, you still need friends, you still need family, you still need to be fed when you're hungry, you still need to be held when you're having a rough day, and you still need to share your experience because, what's the point of having a big house if you can't share it with anyone? For the same reason as like, what's the whole point of like having one room if you can't share it with anyone? So we're all here to have a collective and shared experiences. And the problem that we're dealing with is being manipulated into being put in different boxes. And these boxes are designed on purpose. These boxes are not designed to help us. And we are too complex. We are too grand. We're too majestic to belong to any box. Doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman or trans or gay or straight or lesbian or black or white, or like all these boxes are construct. They're man-made, and they don't matter. All that matters is that we can reach across the aisle, talk to each other, and be honest, and in the spirit of honesty, just express ourselves. And when you're really honest with someone else, they really will accept you. And even if they don't understand you, they'll ask you questions. But by trying to manipulate, by trying to be something you're not, by trying to mask your insecurities, your vulnerabilities, you're not going to touch anyone's heart. And I really want to just encourage everybody to not listen to the same old all the time. People you agree with, people you like, you already know what they're gonna say. They think like you, they act like you, they talk like you, they have the same beliefs. So you're not learning anything. Like, listen to people you don't like. Talk to people whom you're not surrounded with. And if you have an opportunity to interact with them, reach out, try to talk, try to get to know them. Because when you show interest, they'll show interest. I think this whole point of being put in the box, being called whatever, different titles, is to separate people and to have them not talk to each other, to have them hate each other, to have them be afraid of each other, to have them have judgment about each other. And it's just not true. I'm a hairstylist. I have all kinds of clients. I have all kinds of genders. I have all kinds of ages. I have all kinds of races. And guess what? I connect with every single one of them. It doesn't matter because we're honest with each other. There's a moment of honesty. There's a reason why we get together. And I know that they've changed my life as much as I've changed their lives. And so many times they told me, oh, I never thought about anything like this. I never knew about this issue. I never knew about because we all live the lives through our own lenses. And, we're given one body, one race, one language, one gender. So this is our reality. And we can only understand our reality. But in order to understand other people's reality, we need to welcome them and we need to allow them to show us where they're at. And overall, if we do that, we will come to an agreement that 99.9% of us, regardless of where we are, where we live, are the same. And the rest doesn't matter. That's just called diversity. That's just called variety. And we need to respect that. But I just wanted to end this on a positive note that I follow politics. I'm really interested in the world events, where it's going, where it's been, where it is. And I do think that if all of us opened our minds and open our hearts, then things will speed up a lot faster. And the bridges are made and the alliances are made, and we're no longer manipulated, and we're no longer in the path of hate, and we're no longer in the path of division and pointing fingers and who's bad and who's worse. We will just heal together, and we all need to heal because it's just too toxic. It's just too divisive. And if you have the option of reaching out to someone who is different than you, please do, and come across, just reach out with your heart open and reach out with your arms open, and you'd be surprised, because most of these reactions are done and happen because we're afraid. Fear. Fear is the enemy, and we shouldn't be afraid of each other. We're all human beings. We all have the same needs. We all want the same things, and at the end of the day, we all want to love each other, because the world is so much beautiful, so much more beautiful if we love each other. It's so much more like complex in a beautiful way if we heard things we never heard before, and if we did things that we never considered doing because we grew up in a clan that it was outlawed or it was frowned upon. But just give each other a chance and you'd be surprised. And I'm always surprised by giving people whom I don't like a chance. And because, we all have our filters. We all have a little bit of our mom and dads and a little bit of our pastors and priests and mullahs and a little bit of our teachers and a little bit of cultures and a little bit of our movies and songs in our head that decide who we're going to like and who we're going to hate. And that's just not going to be productive. That's just not going to make this world a better place. And I think we should use this opportunity, because now we're connected more than ever through social media and all the other realms, to connect, to ask questions, to be united, and to genuinely want to understand each other better. Because I think at the end of the day, we're all part of the same family, we're all want the same thing, and we all innately love each other. Thank you very much for watching. I will talk to you in the next episode. Bye.